So yes, the title of this video is very accurate. I just want to talk about how I earn almost $100,000 a year working at Costco. I began my Costco career in 2008. And like I said, I currently earn up to $100,000 a year. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a master's degree. All I have is an associate's degree from a community college. What I do in Costco, I'm a hearing aid dispenser. So that's what my position is. Yes, I am a hearing aid dispenser. I have been in my current position since about 2016, so almost 10 years now. And it's a really good position. I do help a lot of people, but just like any other job, it can get tiring and it can be overwhelming. But I just want to share my Costco career and how I began. I actually started working at Costco in 2008. And it was from a recommendation from a friend of mine who was actually working in the bakery department at the time. I just moved back to New York from Florida. And the move was because of family. My grandmother was sick, so I needed to come back. And at the time, I didn't have any job, so I just needed something quick for the holidays. So I applied online and actually started working maybe a week before Christmas in December 2008. Literally had the job for, I would say, less than 2 weeks and was laid off because it was just a temporary seasonal job. Luckily, at the time I was about 24 years old, I became friendly with a few people. And when they began hiring people back around Easter time, managers called me back. I started actually outside pushing carts. That's where I was for the first maybe year to 2 years working at Costco, just as a cart pusher. Nothing special, starting at $11 an hour. It was fine for the time because, I was 24 years old. I had a lot of energy. I was able to walk. I was in great shape at that time. And I actually enjoyed what I was doing for the time. It's a great way to get into the company because you have a little bit more freedom when you're outside. You don't have a lot of people constantly micromanaging you. And back then when I started, we had a nice little crew, and it was really a tight-knit little crew that we had. It was about 5 of us out there, and we had a good time. And we knew that wasn't going to be where I was going to be at for the rest of my Costco career if I was going to stay around for a long time. But that was just my first step. So I stayed outside for about a year to 2 years, right? And again, making $11 an hour, same associate's degree that I currently have. I didn't have anything special. And honestly, I just did it because I needed something quick and temporary during the holidays. So that's the only reason why I began working there. I'll fast forward slightly. I was brought into the office by one of the front-end managers, and he was like, hey, would you like to come inside and work as like a nighttime stalker? This allowed me to work indoors, but it kind of was one of the, I want to say, it wasn't even like a bad position, but the schedule was really bad. I used to work 2:30 to 11 during the week. And on weekends, it was 12:30 to 9 whenever I worked on the weekends. And more than likely, I was working every weekend. And I would have days off like Tuesday and Wednesday. So you really didn't have any life. And as a 24, 25, 26-year-old, it was really difficult to have any kind of life outside of work, any social life. And I don't care who you are, like having some sort of social life in your 20s is important. You need to be able to go out, have dinner with friends, go grab a drink with friends, watch a game with friends. These are all things that are important because I have a pretty good-sized friend group. And, sometimes you just can't do it because by the time you get off work at 11 o'clock, you're tired. Or I'm the only person really awake because I'm staying awake till like 4 in the morning because my sleep schedule is so off. Even though I was getting paid now probably a few dollars extra because, like I said, I started with $11. It didn't help. I even had a relationship at that time, and I think one of the main reasons why that relationship didn't work out for the long run is because of working those hours. So I did that position, where I was a nighttime stalker plus forklift driver for a few years. So let's just say from about, I started working at Costco 2008, let's say 2010 to through about 2014. And even in there, I moved around a little bit where, like, there's different departments and bounced around, but overall it was more like forklift driver and stocker. And at that, the topped out pay was around $21, $22 an hour, but I still wasn't in my current position. Also wanted to highlight, once I got that position, I didn't want to work those hours anymore. So there was another position opening for like produce stocker, which was more like a midday shift. So I took that because I couldn't work 11 o'clock anymore. It was just getting too draining. So I did that for a few years where I was working produce stocking. Now, working in produce in Costco in a busy location is, especially on the weekends, is hectic. It's definitely one of the busiest departments where there are so many people there. You just cannot keep up with just restocking merchandise, especially on a Saturday. That just became draining over time. And at this point, I'm getting closer to 30 years old. So physically, I'm slowing down. I'm not 24 years old anymore. So I knew I was at the point where I was really trying to transition to something that was less physically demanding. Because I know when I turn 50 and 60 years old, I don't want to walk like a hunchback or constantly walking with a limp. So I actually started looking into going back to school. So I enrolled in school to become a teacher. And as I was doing that, I also saw a job posting, which was for the hearing aid center. I knew nothing about hearing aids, absolutely nothing. I didn't know anyone that wore hearing aids. I had never even felt a hearing aid before. But something said, you know what? I really don't like my job at the moment. I'm really dissatisfied with the workload, even the hours, everything about it. So I was really thinking about quitting. So that's what made me apply to go back to school. And I was going back to school and I'm paying for my classes. But then this hearing aid position opened up. And I just said, you know what, let me just find out what it's about. Because it's just sounded a little bit more intriguing because the state requirements were, at least an associate's degree, or 60 college credits. And again, all I had was an associate's degree. So I decided to just take the chance and did some research, found out a bit about it, interviewed with the regional manager, who's no longer my regional manager, but interviewed with her and killed the interview. I mean, we were just having like a conversation for like literally like 45 minutes going back and forth. So killed the interview. They selected me. I began my apprentice program in around, I would say probably like mid 2016, and began my apprenticeship program at a different location because we didn't have a hearing aid center. And at this time when I applied for the position, I didn't know I was going to be taken over as like the senior or manager of the department, but I did it. And when I was doing the apprentice program, I learned a lot. I really worked hard to accomplish this goal to get licensed by the state of New York. And I set that goal and I accomplished it. And I was very happy about that. Now, when I finally got licensed in March 2018, I come back to my home location and I open up the department and I'm running the department. And now, at the time, I believe the starting pay at that time in 2018 was about 70K for my position. I honestly don't remember. Maybe it was about $31 an hour at that time. And then literally just getting raise after raise after raise because of like cost of living raises or new handbook raises, to the point where it was just growing and growing. And this was 2018. We had the shutdown with COVID where we weren't testing anyone, but the business continued to grow and pick up. And then once COVID happened, I swear everyone realized that they weren't hearing, and everyone needed hearing aid. So we just kept getting new clients and kept getting new clients and keep getting new clients. And now here we are in 2016, getting paid more than $40 an hour, and like I said, close to $100,000, just doing something that I just took a chance on. It's crazy. And the reason why I'm just making this video is just talking about like the different career possibilities at a store like Costco. Even if, retail is not for you, there may be something within that that business that you can excel at and drive. Currently, I have a few apprentices. I've trained people to do what I do just to give back. That's something that I actually enjoy doing. It's the one thing that I do look forward to when it comes to work, is just trying to help people, get a career out of the company. And I do encourage anyone that is thinking about it, just get your foot in the door. It does not take very long to move up, especially if you're doing it the right ways. Staying out of trouble, because a place like that can turn into like high school, the gossiping, all that stuff. If you just avoid all of those distractions and kind of have like a singular focus, you can move up within the company in a few years. And also getting lucky, never being afraid to apply for advanced roles in leadership, and not even just leadership, but just moving around to different areas, just to learn, to see what you enjoy, see what you don't enjoy. So that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. I'm definitely going to talk about more about Costco. If there's any questions that you have about Costco, I would love for you to share and ask, and I'll happily answer. So my name is Anthony. I appreciate your time. Be on the lookout for more, and I will keep delivering. Have a good night. Peace.